Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. It's been a while. I've been extremely busy with life and so many things have happened. But the biggest news tonight has to be Hiya Toys has unveiled their Biollante. If you gotta ask me, this is definitely a slap to MonsterArts. Whether you like it or not, it definitely is. It's not a coincidence that they unveiled their version. Hiya Toys said, "Hold my beer. I got a better one for you." So let's talk about the information, only the juicy information, none of the boring stuff. Let's get onto it right now. Release date is going to be for 2027 Q3. Pricing is going to be for 180 US tariffs included plus shipping. Not surprising at all that the prices are going up, and besides, Biollante is going to be huge. This is a big figure and you'll see why. So some interesting details about this. The inside of the stomach is made out of a translucent sort of reddish to give it that effect that you see in the movie. And the vinyls, they have no articulation. All of them are made out of a wire-like material to give you that smooth articulation, if you will, or movement throughout the vines, and you can twist and move the figure however you wish. Now, the figure stands approximately 20 centimeters tall. That is going to be gigantic. And from bottom to head, 40. This is definitely going to be one of their biggest figures and probably heaviest figures out there, along with Ghidorah, Destroya, and all that. And it's not surprising. I really saw this coming since a lot of talks have been going around for the MonsterArts, and it finally happened. They unveiled their reissue, sort of brand new Biollante with a brand new paint job. Nothing has really changed for MonsterArts, just the paint job and all that, like they've been doing for a few figures, giving them quote unquote an upgrade. But for Hiya Toys, this is definitely different. You know, you can definitely see a huge gap between MonsterArts and Hiya Toys when it comes to design and the color as well. And details for Hiya Toys, in my opinion, it looks super sharp. You have to keep in mind that the MonsterArts is over a decade old. That design hasn't been upgraded or articulation. So they're using the very first Biollante they did. So you can definitely see the differences in technology, techniques, and what have you with both companies. Now, interesting enough, for me personally, I'm not trying to hate, but I'm just giving my opinion. I don't like the Hiya Toys Biollante design on the head sculpture. There's something about it that looks off. I prefer the MonsterArts because it has that Godzilla-like crocodile alligator look. It looks more tougher, but that's my opinion. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that prefer this. And from what I can see, it resembles more the X Plus version. If you were to tell me this was X Plus, I would believe it. But you know, there is a huge difference because I believe the MonsterArts is around $300 or almost $400. So when you compare the MonsterArts in price and Hiya Toys, there is a huge difference. And yes, it is probably the most expensive Hiya Toys figure we have today, almost hitting the 200 mark. At least to me, it's not surprising that now Hiya Toys is sort of matching the prices of MonsterArts. It's really going to come down to who's really offering the best articulated figure, details, accuracy, and accessories, because at one point, both of them are going to be matching prices equally. So you're going to have to ask yourself, which is the figure that I prefer, you know? And it's nice to have different options out there for both companies and even others out there, you know. I'm sure Super 7 and others are going to eventually do more Godzilla figures, but for right now, this is getting extremely heated between both companies. Like, you cannot tell me that isn't a slap on their face for MonsterArts from Hiya Toys saying, all right, you know what, you unveiled yours, hold my beer, I got one that's so much better. I don't know about you, but in terms of vinyl and the look, yes, the Hiya Toys does look a lot better, but something about that head sculpture I just do not like. Everything else looks wonderful from what I'm seeing in the back. There's so much details how you can see the trees, the plant-like texture, the roots. Looks really majestic, and it's a great idea that they decided to go for this type of material for the vinyls. And even some uh, areas, if you look at them, they actually have like roots from an actual like tree or plants. So the real question here is for everybody in the comments down below, let me know, which figure are you going to buy? Hiya Toys or MonsterArts? Obviously, there's options, and it's your choice to go for whatever figure you want to buy if you got the money. Personally, I think Hiya Toys killed it because of the price point. You just cannot skip on that figure. And we know from experience, if we look at MonsterArts, that once those types of figures release, the aftermarket for them are extremely high. At one point, I remember when I was a teenager, there was a point where Biollante would sell for 500 to 1,000, and it was extremely crazy. Even Destroya and Space Godzilla, Kiryu, figures like that became extremely rare were selling for so much. It was nearly impossible for anybody to get them unless you had that type of money, and especially for teenagers and kids, it was nearly impossible. But now we have options thanks to Hiya Toys. Thank you everybody for watching the video. Make sure to like, comment, and let me know your thoughts. Which figure are you actually getting? Are you excited for the future that we have for both companies? Thank you guys so much for watching.